Ever since I was 9, 10 years old, I remember I always had this idea of imagining my future and never working for a boss or never working a normal job. And I was at this young age telling my mom things like, when I grow up, I'm not just going to work a normal job. I'm not going to have a boss. I'm never going to have anyone tell me what to do. I'm going to be free. And she would always look at me and say, like, are you okay? Are you crazy? Of course, you have to go down the typical route. You have to go to college, you have to get your degree, and you're gonna go out and work a job and make your money, and you're gonna have a boss. It's totally fine. But for me, that always just did not sit right with me. It was an idea I couldn't accept even at such a young age. So I remember when I was around 11, 12, even 10 years old, I was trying to figure out ways of making money. I feel like I was born as a hustler. Like I was always trying ways to hustle, to make some extra money. And at that time, I landed upon this strange website, or at the time it was very strange, called Amazon, where you can sell stuff online and people anywhere in the US at least can purchase from you. Everyone can access your listings and anyone can buy from you. And back then, Amazon was so simple to sell on. I know now people who sell on Amazon, it's like this super difficult process. Just listing up a product takes so long. But I had gone to school, I had traded with this kid in my class, I had given him this really cool pencil, or made it seem like it was a very cool pencil, or it was a pen or something for his iPod Shuffle. Sorry, his iPod Nano, the little iPod Nanos that had the wheel that you switch music on. Somehow I got him to give me a freaking iPod for a pencil. I went home, I was super excited. I asked my mom for a credit card, bank information, put it into Amazon, listed up my product. 2 days later, it sells, and I just made my first money online. And right then and there, I knew this shit right here is crazy. It opened my mind up in such a way that over the next few years, I didn't stick to Amazon. I mean, I was an 11-year-old kid. If I stuck to it, I would have probably been a millionaire by now. But over the next few years, I kept trying to find or figure out different ways of making money. Sold a little bit more on Amazon, sold a little bit on eBay. That was kind of my first touch or my first experience with e-commerce. As I got a bit older, I started reselling sneakers online, reselling them on Amazon, also on eBay. And then something happened where I lost all the capital that I had, all the money that I had, and I had to give up. And then I felt like at that point in time was when my dream of being my own boss, of being an entrepreneur, slowly kind of slipped away from me. At this point in time, I was just actually going into high school. And you kind of get hit with this reality of adults telling you, look, now you need to really focus on your studies. You need to go to a good college. You need to get a good job when you graduate. You need to get a degree in this, and that. And this is a job that you need to do. And all these kinds of things. And you kind of let those childhood dreams that you had slowly slip away from you. That's mainly pushed onto you by other people, older people, who let their dreams and ambitions slip away from them by the previous generation. So I let go of e-commerce, I let go of everything. I went through high school, followed the typical path. I went to college, but always in the back of my mind, that little seed was still there. It still hadn't blossomed, but it's still there. I had thrown this seed in when I first sold on Amazon, and it was slowly growing. And I would always think, how am I going to actually find the path for myself, a path of freedom for myself? I did the typical things like watch YouTube videos of how to make money online. By the way, don't watch those stupid bullshit videos of 5 ways to make money online. That's a waste of your time. I went through a bunch of that phase, of trying to figure things out. And I knew there was something out there that was going to allow me to live that dream life that I've had. I just didn't know how. So as time goes on, I graduate college, I go down the typical 9 to 5 path. And I feel like then and there was this very critical moment where I almost felt like I reached this stage or this age where I began to tell myself, just like the previous generation had told me, entrepreneurship is not possible. People who make money are just scamming, especially people who are self-made. Especially being an immigrant, being a self-made entrepreneur as an immigrant who wasn't born here, who, didn't grow up here from when they were born. It's very difficult to think that there is a way for you to make it out of the typical system. I start working the job, and slowly my dreams started to go away. But I think what pushed me towards getting back into e-commerce, to following my dream again, following that dream towards freedom pretty much, was the fact that I hated my job so much. I hated working in corporate America. I hated it. I didn't enjoy the people I worked with. I didn't enjoy the environment. I feel like I was always unluckily placed with very incompetent managers and bosses who I felt like were not they just weren't good managers. They weren't good, but they weren't good at their jobs. They weren't really good at much. And it pissed me off. It pissed me off being in that state, making a shit salary. Although I had done everything I was told to do, I went to college, I got the job. The salary was still shit. I was working in sales. Sales was extremely stressful. So I had to couple that with doing DoorDash on the side. So I would be working these super long days. I did DoorDash during the summers as well, with no AC in my car. I remember my whole left arm was all burnt because of just I had to open the window and stick out my arm because I had no AC, so I could cool down a little bit while doing DoorDash. And I just kept getting angrier and angrier and more pissed off, and I knew I had to figure something out. This was not going to be my life. This was not going to be the path that I was going to take. Just like looking around me, seeing everyone else who had given up on their dreams, you know, kind of seeing that, and I knew I couldn't let go of mine. So as a bit of time went on in the job and I hated that job, my mind was always thinking. I would go do DoorDash, I would kind of listen to business podcasts, some more long form business content, just think and think, until one day I was on vacation. I had gone to visit my family, and one night, the night before my flight, I just could not sleep. I could not sleep. I was thinking back of kind of going back into work and how much I hated my job and how it made me even despise certain days of the week. You know, when you work corporate and you work a job you don't like, there's this culture of like hating Mondays and loving Fridays. Because Friday, finally the weekend is here, and then Monday, the same, how was your weekend? The same bullshit conversations, the same bullshit small talk. If you can't tell already, I hated everything about corporate. I hated corporate culture, all of it. So that night before my flight, I couldn't sleep, and I'm just like scrolling random stuff on the internet. I think I was on Instagram or something, and I see this guy selling this AirPods case online. He was selling, no, promoting on using TikTok. So I saw the post on TikTok. I saw the post had gone very viral, had a lot of likes, it had a lot of comments. And at this time, TikTok shop didn't exist. So he was just doing TikTok organic, driving people from this post onto his website. So I go on the website and I see that he sold, at that point, had sold over 3,000 of this case. I do the math, the case is about $25. He sold 3,000. He's made over 100K in, I don't know what, a month, in the past month or 2 months from this particular product. And I sit there and I'm like, if I worked a whole year in my corporate sales job, I wouldn't make 100K. Even though it was a sales job, the bonus was capped, and get nowhere near the cap of the bonus. Is extremely difficult to achieve. Even if I did good, I'd make an extra 10K from the bonus. I make 65K for the whole year. This person right here, because they leveraged e-commerce, they were able to make almost twice my salary in the span of a few months. And that right there lit up the light bulb. It lit up the fuse inside me and the passion that I had from a very young age to say, fuck that, I'm gonna go for this again. I'm gonna go after this dream, because in reality, we're underpaid. Every job out there is underpaying you, because if they weren't underpaying you, they're not making a profit off of you. So just think about that for a little bit. Every single job is going to underpay you, because if they don't underpay you, if you don't produce more than they pay you, then you're not profitable, right? They just fire you, they get rid of you, they have no use for you. So I think that the best, I kind of thought of this formula, and that is value, the value that you present. So even selling stuff online, that's value, or like teaching people stuff online, times scale is the formula to make a ridiculous amounts of money, right? When you kind of have a brick and mortar store, there's no scale, there's value. You're selling things and people come in and they buy it, they like your products, but there's no scale, right? Your store doesn't operate 24/7. You don't operate to the whole entire country. You operate out of that one location. E-commerce is and it's very simple. Ecomm is very, very simple, but Ecomm gives you value at scale, right? Your e-commerce store operates 24/7. Now I'm thinking about this, I'm like, damn, when I started on Amazon, I should have kept going. Amazon's something that operates 24/7, but now there's Shopify. You can create your own Shopify store, operates 24/7. You can sell to anyone in the US. The reach is incredible. There's social media, and I'm just thinking that night I didn't sleep before my flight. The next day I get on the flight. As soon as I land, I come home and I figure out how to make a Shopify site, and I figure out shit to sell. I'm doing research. I'm like, okay, how can I have people produce stuff for me without me having to ship it? So drop shipping. But I want to do shirts, and I want to do items like that have designs printed on them. Stumble upon Printify. Within 2 to 3 days, I'm ordering my first sample. Within the week, I'm creating content. I knew the possibility was there, and don't let anyone ever lie to you or misguide you, telling you that e-commerce is oversaturated. E-commerce is never oversaturated, and it can never be oversaturated as long as people are buying stuff, and people are only going to buy more stuff online. E-commerce is an industry that's just starting out. It's not even super global if you think about it. There's still many markets that don't have the infrastructure, the logistical capabilities to operate in e-commerce at a large scale. So the opportunities are endless, can never be oversaturated. People always want to buy new things. There's always going to be new businesses selling new things. So one thing leads to another. Within the week, I have my website through Shopify, figured out how to do it. For all you people out there who are like, oh my God, I want to sell online, but I don't know how. What do I tell you? I don't know what to tell you. There's a million videos on how to make a freaking Shopify site. This isn't a year-long project. You don't need to make a business plan. You don't need to study Porter's 5 forces. You don't need to study the market that you're in. You don't need to do any of that. I created my store within a week, found out about Printify within a week. Within a week, bought some PNG designs off Etsy, threw them on some shit on Printify, ordered my samples. Within the week, that was all done. So the next week, or about in a week and a half, stuff came in. So I'm creating content for it, and it took me, I don't know, like a month, and I will never, ever, ever forget the moment I got my first sale. I was driving my shitty little car with no AC, doing DoorDash, and I hear the cha-ching from Shopify, the notification right there. I would say that was the moment that changed my life forever, because I realized that sale came from a video that I had posted on TikTok, I don't know, maybe 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I was now doing something completely different. And that piece of content, and I look at content as digital real estate, you know, it gives you more value as time goes on. That piece of content that took me 3 minutes to make has now days later gotten me a sale. So the first sale comes in. After about 3 days, another sale comes in, and I'm just getting more and more content, creating more and more and more. And I knew that this shit was possible. E-commerce is your ticket to freedom. It was my ticket to freedom. As time went on, I had a video. I remember one night a video went like kind of viral for me, not even super viral. I got like 50,000 views, and within the span of like an hour, and this was about 2 months after I started, within the span of like 3 to 4 hours, I did $1,000 in sales. And I like made a video on my phone, like crying, recording, like I couldn't believe what just happened. I made $1,000 that in my shit corporate job where I hate my life every day, where I hate everything that I do, I make 1,000 in like a week and a half. I made it in the span of a few hours. Why? Because I have value at scale. And my website, Shopify websites can handle, 50,000 people on them, without crashing. I don't know what the exact number is. The website's not going to crash. It can handle as much people that go on 24/7, anywhere in the US, or if you ship internationally, anywhere in the world. That's what I always think about, man. Like, e-com is so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, if you explained e-com to anyone 30 years ago, they would have been jumping on the opportunity. Everyone would have been jumping on. So how are we in 2024 and you're still not jumping on this? Like, it's endless. The opportunities the opportunities are just crazy right now. And then TikTok Shop came out. So like, pretty much going back to my story, I had the $1,000 day, like things continued to get better. I had many like low moments. There was a period of 3 months where I didn't sell anything because my shop just slowed down. I wasn't getting any more views on TikTok for what I was selling. And I thought kind of the dream was over. I couldn't accept it because I moved to another job. And again, I hated it again. I hated corporate. And I knew I was either going to be depressed for the rest of my life or I was going to figure this shit out. And I figured it out. TikTok Shop came out. I documented my journey. And I've done TikTok Shop for about less than a year now, because my first day was August 25 of 2023. And now we're in 2024 August. I made the videos. The rest is history, pretty much. The year went on, my shop continued to grow and grow, and I'll put a screenshot right here of my TikTok shop so you can see the name of my business, you can see what I sell, you can see the work that I put in, you can see me going on live every single day. What other person on YouTube is showing you their business, is showing you the name of their business? No one is doing that. You can go onto TikTok Shop, you can search up my business, you can see the exact amount of sales we have, you can see everything. No one else is doing that. No one else is showing you what they sell or their business. They all magically had some Shopify store that did 7 figures, or some Shopify store that did a 50K in a day in like 2018 off Facebook ads or something, but no one is showing you the real shit. You can go out, put up the screenshot, you can go look at it. Anyways, as I said, long story short, I knew e-commerce was my ticket to freedom, and I put in a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. Let me find something for you for a sec. Hold on. There's this little card that I had made, and I don't know if you can see, but you can see all the squares. I made this when I graduated college, and in it there's 24 squares. There's number 1, number 2. And I told myself when I made it, and I made this, the first box was September of 2022, around the time where I had started my job, or maybe it was August. 12 months, 1 and 2. These boxes represented the next 24 months of my life, the next 2 years, year 1, year 2. I told myself I was going to sacrifice these next 2 years and figure out how the fuck to get out of corporate America, because I was not going to do this for the rest of my life. It took sacrificing friendships, sacrificing time, sacrificing not going out on the weekend, a ton of sacrifice. So after 2 years of all these squares, checking them off every single month, last month in July I was able to quit my 9 to 5, and I can tell you right now, I am never going back to work in a 9 to 5 again. Ever, ever, ever. The experience was just horrendous. I hated it. In a 9 to 5, as I said, we're undervalued, you're treated poorly, and there's no security in a 9 to 5 anymore. This isn't the 1960s, right? One day you might have the job, the next day they got to do pay cuts, or they got to do just cuts in general because of bad financial conditions, and your position is lost, and there you go, you're now unemployed. So my message for you here is e-commerce, just as it was my ticket to freedom, it's going to be your ticket too, or it can be your ticket. You need to take the risk. You need to go all in. There isn't really any risk. I mean, start Ecomm while you have your job, right? I'm not telling you quit your job and then start. No. What I did was I sacrificed the 2 years of working a 9 to 5, getting my master's too, and starting my business and YouTube and everything, to just go all in, because I knew that if I wanted to be able to quit my job in my early 20s. That's what I wanted. I want to have freedom in my early 20s. Something I always think about now is, I'm like, this decision that I just made right now, when I'm like 50, 60, 70, I'm going to be looking back at it like, I'm not going to regret it. There's no chance I'm going to look back and say, damn, I regret I sacrificed those 2 years after college to give myself freedom for the rest of my life. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to, man. So anyways, I don't want to make the video too long. E-commerce can be your ticket to freedom. You can make it out just like I did. I have a ton of content on YouTube telling you how I started TikTok Shop. I literally documented the whole first 30 days every single day. A ton of value on my YouTube. But if you'd like something a bit more personal, one-on-one coaching, you will find my school link down below. It's not a school community, it's one-on-one coaching. So I only work with 2 to 3 people a month, because my business is still my #1 priority. And yeah, walk you through everything that I did. And yeah, go check out my TikTok shop, man. I have nothing to hide. You'll see the sales on there. You'll see everything. Do the math for yourself. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out.